And welcome to episode 98 of the TechnoBuffalo Show. I'm one of your two hosts for today, Sean I, Director of Operations. I'm joined by Executive Editor Todd Hazelton.
Hey, everybody.
How are you doing this week, Todd?
I'm good.
Good. That is a good thing. It has been a quiet week, thankfully, before we go into the insanity that is IFA. And does anyone actually call it IFA, or is that just us? Do people actually say IFA?
It's IFA.
Okay. Because isn't it an abbreviation for something?
Yeah, it's an old radio show. Actually, it was like one of the oldest radio shows in the world, I think. But yeah, most people just say IFA.
Yeah, we'll just go with IFA. And when do you depart for that?
Next Monday. Next Monday.
Wow.
So the 29th, I think it is, or whatever. I think it's the 29th, and then I come home on the 4th, I think. Sunday the 4th or Saturday the 3rd.
So that means we will do episode 99 next week, and then we will have to skip a week, and then we'll do episode 100.
Right. Yep.
100 episodes.
Building anticipation for it.
Yes.
But IFA's going to be different this year. In the past, I'm sure most of our listeners know, but it was where Samsung would announce the new notes and stuff like that. And in fact, the first time I went to IFA was I was looking at this yesterday, it was back in 2010 for the original Galaxy Tab, their very first tablet. So I've been there a lot. And this year, they're not doing so much, at least Samsung's not. It looks like they're going to do the Gear S3. They sent out the invites yesterday for that. And then, the rest of the companies, I think it's going to be like Acer, Asus, Lenovo, that kind of thing. Not like, I don't know. I guess I feel like in the past there's been a big flagship product because it's been the Note. Sony's going to be there, so there might be a new Sony phone, but I feel like it's a little early because they just did one at Mobile World Congress too. But, then again, so did Samsung, so it's possible. It just seems like it's going to be a slower year this year, and that's after 2010 sort of kicked things off, put IFA on the map. I feel like with Samsung using it to unveil a tablet, and it's just blown up since then. And now it's like, okay, what's this year going to be like? Because it seems kind of low key.
Well, now let's put this in perspective. Sony will be there; they'll announce a phone that we'll never see.
Yeah, or it'll come to the U.S. and be like really expensive compared to the other flagships that you could buy. And underpowered and just, yeah.
Exactly. So even if Sony is, announcing a new phone, doesn't mean it's going to be that exciting for those of us in the U.S.
Yeah.
Oh, Sony. What are you going to do with them?
Yeah, so IFA could be very different this year, but hopefully there's other things, like technologies to talk about. It is, one of the shows where there's a lot of refrigerators and appliances and stuff like that, which I honestly haven't seen that much of in the past. It's a whole different haul. So maybe I'll spend time this year and try to figure out, what's new in that world.
And that's every year at CES, we're like, we've got to get over to the appliances. We need to finally start, really look at the appliances, and we never get over there.
Yeah.
So maybe this will be your chance to finally check out the crazy refrigerators.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, and maybe this will be the case at IFA this year, at CES, both Samsung and LG had like sections of their booths that were dedicated to their fridges and stuff like that to show like the whole connected home and, like how you could sit at a TV and see the temperature of your fridge. In case you're like, oh no, the temperatures. I've never worried about the temperature. I just adjust the dial and hope it doesn't freeze or melt,
Freeze is always my problem.
Right. Yeah.
But the big one at CES this year, of course, was the Samsung fridge that, you could check it with cameras when you're out at the grocery store. And I was, good grief.
Right. Yeah.
There is a point. I love the ones that can run apps on the fridge because, as I'm staying there eating a pint of Ben & Jerry's, I want to play Angry Birds.
Yeah.
On my fridge door. I
could see like Wonderlist and stuff like that where you're like, oh, I need eggs and bread and stuff like that. But I don't know. I just use the phone. It just doesn't. I can't see why that's important. But maybe Samsung will prove me wrong over the next couple of years and show us why we need all that gadgetry on the front of a fridge.
I have no idea.
I feel like it's just like a way to like brag to your friends, like, oh yeah, I've got a super connected home. Check out this fridge.
I've said before on this show, my dream is the connected washer and dryer just so it messages me and goes, hey, the load's done, so I don't run up and down the stairs 20 times.
Right.
Going, are you done yet?
Yeah.
Washers and dryers. So anyway, there were a few things we wanted to touch on this week, and we will get to the Google Hangouts discussion towards the end of this segment. But the first one being the exclusive photos that we received of the 2 new Fitbits.
Yeah, we got those yesterday. The Fitbit Charge 2 and Fitbit Flex 2. They build on existing products. Obviously, their names kind of suggest that, like the Charge and the Flex 2. But first off, the Charge, it launched a couple years ago, whatever, and it didn't have a heart rate monitor or anything like that. And then a Charge HR launched, which was the heart rate monitor version of the original Charge. And so this is technically like the third in the family, even though it's called the Charge 2. And it has a bigger display, automatic sleep tracking, the Pure Pulse technology for heart rates, all that kind of stuff. And you still get like smartphone notifications on your watch. It's kind of quasi smartwatch, I called it. Activity tracking, multi-sport tracking, so like you can ride your bike or run or that kind of stuff. And this is all information that we got from the images. Like I just have the images. I didn't get any additional details. So I don't know pricing or release date yet, but we did know they were coming. There was a recent filing by Fitbit that showed the trademarks for both names. And then the the Flex 2 is sort of just a very simple band. I was saying it'll probably compete most with the Misfits out there, like the brand Misfit that has very affordable wearables. It's water resistant, so you can go swimming in a pool, which I think, I could be wrong, but I think it's one of the first for Fitbit. Previously, they've said like you could take a shower or run with it, and I don't think anybody actually recommends all that. And this one, like you can go in the pool with it. So that's the Flex 2. And it doesn't have a display, it just has like indicator lights and all that. So you can learn about them on the site. And again, I don't know when they're coming out, but one of the images said like November 27th on the screen. Whether you want to read into that or not, I don't know. It seems like these images look pretty advanced, like along in the process for press images, that November seems kind of far from now for them, but they could launch then too.
Yeah, well, like you said, I mean, the dates on screens don't always mean something. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. You just never know for sure. And November 27th seems a little too close to the holiday season to roll them out to the stores. That's post Black Friday.
Yeah, you want to get that. If I was Fitbit, I'd try to get it out now.
Yeah.
But as you were saying, it's kind of like, these are exciting. They're new Fitbits, and I think Fitbit's one of the most popular wearables, save for like Apple. But it's like, how much more do we need these things? The sleep tracking's neat, step tracking, exercise tracking, all this. But like as you move into smartwatches and stuff like that, or even wearables, I guess what I'm trying to say is you can get a smartwatch. It does like a bit more with apps and stuff like that. Or you get like the more advanced wearables with GPS and stuff like from Garmin, and even Samsung's new wearable has GPS. And then when you look at these, you're like, okay, $150 or whatever they're going to cost. That's last gen. That's kind of a lot of money when other products have better things. And Fitbit's always sort of won the market, I think, personally, because their software is a lot better. It's really great software, especially on your phone. So that's an appealing, part of their product. But I just think they need to add GPS and all these things and sort of have this, all-in-one. Otherwise, their portfolio seems to be getting, these are going to replace 2 products, but kind of big. They have the Fitbit Blaze, which is their smartwatch, and then they have these. And it's sort of like, why do I need that?
Yeah, fitness trackers in general. I had I still have it, but I never wear it anymore. The Jawbone Up 24, and I never found it to be that accurate. I didn't find it. Yes, it did some tracking, but there were times where I was like, no, there's no way I walked that. There were times where I thought I walked more than I had, thought I walked less than I had. It never tracked my sleep precisely. I was just like, all right, I'm done. I just don't see the point in doing all this. But, apparently there's still people that believe in them, and, maybe they're getting more out of them than I did. But
yeah, well, Fitbit's also won sort of the praise of the market or mindset of consumers, because if you walk around, on the street with a gear fit on, say, and somebody walks over like, hey, what kind of Fitbit is that? It's almost like the interchangeable Kleenex or Q-tip of the wearable industry,
right,
for health wearables. So I think, people are definitely going to be excited about their new products. It's just, I also am very curious, without GPS and stuff like that, are they going to face the same sort of sales problem that Apple has in the whole tablet industry in general, where people are like, I don't upgrade my wearable. Like I've already, like, okay, the steps are cool, or okay, maybe I want my heart rate, but do I really need to spend $200 when that's the only difference, or because it has a slightly larger display? So I feel like the market's probably, closing. Although I bet it's not saturated, not even close to saturated. When you look around, a lot of people still don't have wearables, but.
No, I totally agree with you. It's definitely one of those products where, when do you feel the need to upgrade it or replace it? To me, it would only be if it broke, or, there would have to be a radically new feature, not an upgraded feature, but a new feature.
Yeah, and I think GPS is one of the ones, especially for fitness nuts, where they're like, I started with, a jawbone, and now I'm really running a lot, really biking, and I want to map all this stuff out. And so that's why I bought, the Samsung Gear Fit, or that's why I bought the Garmin Forerunner or something like that, because they have GPS chips, and you're like, oh, that's something mine doesn't have, and it's something I'm taking seriously now. And I want to see my path. I want to see what I've, my split times have improved on that path versus previous years. So, and these don't have GPS, so it's just hard to tell, what the market segment is. But it's also like, okay, they have to keep refreshing too, right? You can't just sit there and say, oh, here's our 2-year-old wearable, and then Fitbit sort of falls off the planet, which is something I brought up recently about the iPhone 7. I think, and people obviously mistook my article because I don't think everybody reads it, but the headline was, is anyone actually excited for the iPhone 7? And my point is, like, the iPhone 7's coming, sure, like you're excited in the sense of like an upgrade, but I also feel Apple's big iPhone upgrade is supposed to be in 2017. And at this point, it seems to me they're just announcing a product because they have to. Like, you can't just sit still. You got to get something out there. And so I feel like Fitbit's in that sort of position too.
No, I totally agree with you. I think there's a lot of companies that do that because, oh, well, we got to put something out.
Yeah. Because even like if you follow Apple's messaging, like at least if you're following the leaks through like the Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg and those kind of places, it's like, it's almost like wait till you see the next one. Like this one's going to be exciting, but wait till you see the next one. We're going to have OLED panels, or you're going to have all, totally new redesign and all this stuff. And so you're kind of like, well, I'm excited for the next iPhone, but not this year's, the next iPhone.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at. But
yeah,
I don't know. I think there's a lot of companies out there that do, oh, well, we got to put something out this year, and well, here we'll just, tinker with this and tinker with that. And this stuff is too expensive to do that as a consumer.
Yeah, but on the other hand, I think, and this is before the wireless carrier, changes were made to leasing and jump upgrades, and even Apple's own guaranteed upgrade program that kicked off last year, that, the 2-year cycle, this was their big time to grab upgrades too, because people, they bought the first iPhone, next one, they sort of was a year in, and then the next big one, boom, 2-year cycles, they were up for a renewal, and that sort of falls on this year. So it's, I'm curious to see what it does for sales, whether people are really moving for it, or if people, I guess the masses probably aren't paying attention and probably don't understand that the new big iPhone is coming out actually next year, not this year. But I'm interested to see what it does for sales. And Apple still continues, despite like it does have drop-offs in sales, quarter over quarter, and I think year over year. But then when you look at the comparisons, like, for example, sales of the Galaxy S7 or the Note 5, I think it was the S7 and J5, whatever, Samsung's 3 most popular handsets in any case during the first half of 2016 came in at like a fraction of Apple's sales. So like that's their nearest competitor, just those 3 flagship smartphones. That's their nearest competitor. And you start to think, well, Apple's still going to do fine no matter what they release. It's just, are they going to be able to hit their own big sales numbers?
Well, and again, as I always say on this show, we have to remember there's a ton of people out there that will never have read one article about what's coming next year, and they'll just go ahead and, oh, new iPhone, time to get one.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll see how they do. The next topic that we wanted to touch on was the announcement of Google Duo, which I gotta admit, I when you brought it up yesterday, I really hadn't read about it yet, so I had to go read about it. I was like, what about the name Duo in any way, shape, or form implies what this does?
I don't know. There's like a duo of people chatting. Two people, two. Yeah, it's like it's their new video chat app. It's very simple. You load it up, you see who else has it, you touch call, and there's this knock knock feature that. So if I'm calling you and I have my phone up to my face or whatever, I'm going to talk to you. It starts recording me as I call you, so you can see like what's going on. So like if you're in your towel and I'm in a conference room, like, oh, let's get Sean on the line, and you look at your phone, you're like, well, there's a whole conference room of people, like you might not answer.
Yeah,
like you know ahead of time, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, well, I read about that feature. I was like, that's for all the college age guys who call their girlfriends.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you doing tonight?
Yeah. But it didn't work for me, actually, when we were testing it yesterday. Jacob and I were testing it. I think he had the iPhone app, and I was on Android. And whenever he would call me, it was just a black screen. But when I called him, he was able to see me. So it seems like it might be a little buggy right now.
Yeah, that's to be expected, this early on in its life. But it's one of those situations where I'm just like, can't you name it something that at least somewhat implies? I mean, I'm going to duo you.
Yeah, I'll duo you. That does sound weird.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's only so many good names out there. FaceTime's taken and Hangouts is taken and all that. Hey, don't worry, I'll duo you later.
Duo you.
Hey.
Yeah, it kind of, it's definitely targeting right at FaceTime, like their FaceTime thing, but I can see what you're saying. It doesn't roll off the lips, but it is nice and quick, very fast to execute a call and pick up, and the quality seemed very good. I was just on an LTE network, not on Wi-Fi, so it's if that's how they're going to tackle FaceTime, I think it's a good job. And that sort of answered President Franco's question here, like why Duo? Couldn't they just implement the features to Hangouts? Same for Messenger and Allo, and we'll get to Allo and Messenger, I guess. But yeah, I think they could have integrated it, but this is like just a very quick, like open up call, boom, that's it. There's no chatting, there's no, nothing else. And so you can see clearly Allo is the text app they're going to launch later too, and you can see that they've decided to break the two out into these standalone services, which I think isn't a terrible idea.
But that's yet another app to download.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Like, how many people are actually doing that? Like, are people just going to give up and use Skype, which combine the two? And Hangouts, obviously is changing too. So,
yeah. Let's jump ahead a little bit here. I do want to continue with Duo, but we do need to address the Google Hangouts situation. First off, do we know, are they getting rid of video calling in regular Hangouts as well?
I have no idea what's going on with Hangouts. I was just listening to what you said, so you can explain.
Okay, so as of, I believe it's September 14th, Google Hangouts...
I know the YouTube Live aspect of it. I just didn't know like what's happening to existing.
Yeah, no, that's what I don't know either. As of September 14th, Google Hangouts, which is what Todd and I use to record this show so that you can all watch us, you can ask questions and all that, it's going away, and we're being forced to transfer over to YouTube Live. However... here's the fun part. Q&A, which is an important part of Google Hangouts, is not coming with us to YouTube Live. At this time, we've known about this less than 24 hours. We don't know how we're going to do the show yet. We are going to continue to do the show. There's no way, shape, or form that's going away. We just don't know how we're going to handle the Q&A section yet. We could do YouTube comments, which is going to be impossible to keep track of. We could have you email submit them, but then that takes away the natural flow of the questions that we enjoy, since you guys ask questions based on what we're saying at that moment. We could go to Twitter, which will kind of work, but not perfectly. So we are trying to think of a solution here. I think Google is missing one of the perfect aspects of Hangouts. If you want to force us to go over to YouTube Live, fine, I've got no problem with that. But at least bring the same features with us.
Yeah, or we could move over to Facebook Live, but I don't know if we can get the recording afterwards. That's the hard thing.
That's the hard thing, and I'm going to be exploring all these different things.
Or like the calling aspect. I think Facebook Live is sort of just one-dimensional, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be. Thankfully, they gave us a month, so I have time to research. So the TechnoBuffalo Show is not going to be canceled because of this or anything like that. I just have to figure out a different solution. And it may very well be YouTube Live, but the lack of Q&A is going to be a real nasty point for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So that answers Josh Ranmuth's question. So we are working on it. We're going to figure it out. So Allo, that's going to be a text only?
Yeah, Allo and Duo were both announced during Google I/O. Allo's like their advanced text messaging application. So like Messenger, but not because it's not SMS. I don't think. So it's kind of like their take. It's funny because here you have iMessage and Allo coming out. They're sort of both these like rich text messaging apps where you can do all kinds of funky things with stickers and that kind of fun stuff. So that's their version or their idea on where messaging is going. But it again begs the question, don't we have too many of these already? You know, whether all right, let's just give everybody benefit of the doubt. Let's just say that Google's default is Allo and Apple's is iMessage, and we say those are perfect, who cares? You know, but then there's already just too many others. Like you go into WhatsApp and you go into Facebook Messenger and you go into Skype and you're like, how are you trying to contact people? And it all depends on, it takes me back to like that South Park episode, right? Where like they're trying to buy their next generation console and choosing between the PS4 and the Xbox One. And they just pick the one that their friends use. And that's the same thing that happened, you know, for a while. It's what held BlackBerry on forever. Like people were like, I can't leave BBM because that's what my friend using. And I still hear that from time to time about iMessage. Like I like Android, but I don't want to leave iMessage. Or I want to buy an iPhone because I want to be a part of iMessage. And so it seems like those are, you know, the two, well, it's either iMessage or WhatsApp or whatever, but it's like those are the two defaults. You still have all these other ones in the middle that people are using no matter what their platform. And, you know, if it's WhatsApp, it's very, very simple. And I think people like it for that reason. It doesn't have the stickers and all kinds of stuff like that. And then, you know, this isn't even to mention products like Line in other countries. But, you know, so I think they're entering a very crowded market. And while it might be very feature-rich and fun for some people, it's going to run into the same issue that I think we're talking about Duo earlier, where, you know, what's the point of using it? Because there's already these other ones that people are using. And then you got to tell all your friends, hey, download this app, and then, you know, try to decide if it's better. So, for example, like I use WhatsApp to talk to my sister who's traveling around the world, and I use it to talk to my friend, my old roommate who lives in Singapore and stuff like that. But then, you know, I have a group of college buddies that are on GroupMe, and I have iMessage with some other friends. And it's just like so many platforms. Like, do I really need another one? Is anybody actually going to switch to these?
Yeah. Well, and Michael Vassell asks, I'm confused with the purpose of Allo. What is the selling point of it? That's what we're trying to figure out.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. I think the selling point is it's very feature rich and stuff, and I think they're going to open it up to like, I think they open up like APIs. I could be wrong, but the way Messenger did, Facebook Messenger did, with like allowing apps to build into it and all those kinds of things. And so you start to get like the Facebook Messenger experience, which, by the way, is what I use to talk to my neighbors in the neighborhood. You know, so it's like, well, you know, maybe I'll use this for a couple of things. And then there's Slack for work, right? Like, how many Messenger clients do we need?
When I come in the morning, I fire up, you know, Messages, Skype, and Slack. And I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, I'm running 3 messaging systems because everybody likes to be on something different.
Yeah. Oh, and the other thing, I don't think it's launching with end-to-end encryption. Duo has it for the video, but I don't think, I'm almost positive Google said that Allo is not going to have end-to-end encryption, which is something that people they use WhatsApp and iMessage really value. And I think Facebook Messenger might have it now. If not, it's coming soon.
Well, getting into some of the other questions we have here from like Sahal Raja, do you think Google will combine all of their communication apps into one? Nope.
Oh, it sounds like it's doing the opposite, splitting everything out. Yeah, because you sort of had Hangouts, which at one time was also, I mean, it was still used for text messages and stuff, but then they did Messenger, which, to build on the confusion, was, on top of whatever SMS application shipped on your default Android phone. And then, now they're doing Allo, and now they're doing Duo. So technically, Hangouts at one point was, if you wanted it to be text messaging, your chat and your calling, and now they're just breaking it all out. So they're doing the exact opposite of putting it all together.
Well, Michael Vassell says here, Allo is going to have a private chat with encryption. Normal Allo isn't. Well, then what is the point of even having normal Allo?
Yeah, I feel like they should just make it
that should be the default.
Good clarification. Thank you.
Google. The thing with Google, as much as I enjoy using their products, how long until they discontinue these? Remember, everyone, catch the Google Wave.
Wave was a failed product, and others.
Well, let's face it, Google Plus has failed.
Yes.
But Bryson Franco, normal Allo is the one that features AI. Who knows? That's the whole point. We can't. This is ridiculous.
AI, just like Facebook Messenger, like the bots and stuff.
They just want to. Sometimes they just want to go into these offices and strangle people.
Yeah, but that's actually kind of neat. I ordered this bag from a leather company in the U.S., new messenger bag, and right when I ordered it, they sent my whole order form and the tracking and stuff right through Facebook Messenger, which I thought was really cool. It's just like all I had to do was like approve Facebook or whatever. And so you can see kind of the value to that if you're ordering something online and it's smart enough to use, say, Google Allo or something with these AI and bots. And I know AI could be used like differently, like you want to chat and say what's the weather or whatever. But I just thought that was really, really neat, to get this whole status update on my package in a message.
From Armando Dupo, hi, I would like to inquire about the lately concluded giveaway Lenovo laptop. When will you guys draw the entries? Thanks. So I figured this is a good time to explain how we do giveaways, because we get this question a lot. So the giveaways always end at midnight Pacific time, which to many people's shock, I'm asleep when that happens. So first thing I do the next morning when I come in after the giveaway is concluded, I go ahead and draw the winners. I then, be a winner or winners. I then email them and I give them 24 hours to respond to me. The reason we do that is because in the past, when we hadn't given them a timeline, we'd be sitting there twiddling our thumbs for a week.
Yeah.
So what we do now is we give them 24 hours to reply. If they do not reply within that 24 hours, which we tell them not only 24 hours, but we tell them the time in different time zones and also the date. If they do not respond within that 24-hour period, I then revoke their win and draw another winner. So in the case of the Lenovo winner, I believe their 24 hours just expired. So I will now draw another winner after the show and email that person. And so unfortunately, that's why you don't always see a winner announced real quickly. We had one giveaway recently. I went through 4 people before I got a response.
That sucks to be that person. It's just like, oh, I didn't see it. I had a free laptop.
I had one that emailed me like an hour and a half after. I had already drawn the other winner, emailed them. They immediately replied. And this other person emailed like an hour and a half later, like, oh, I just saw this. I was like,
sorry. Yeah.
Sorry. I don't know what to tell you.
That sucks.
But so, yeah, the original winner of the Lenovo laptop has been drawn. They have not replied. Matter of fact, let me just take a look at my email inbox real quick. Nope. I've only had 3 emails since the show started, and none of them are from the winner. So I will draw another winner after the show concludes, email that person, then we start the whole 24-hour process again. Unfortunately, it can take a couple days sometimes. Meanwhile, I'm the type of person that, if I knew a contest was ending, I'd be sitting there going, did I get it? Did I get it? Checking my spam folder and everything else.
Yeah.
Let's see here. From Brazen Franco, will Fitbit be sued for the new products too? Who knows?
I hope not. They've been sued for 30 The rash. What's that?
Todd's sleepy today.
I didn't have my coffee here during the show. I had the Fitbit, whatever that one was that gave people rashes, and it gave me one. It was like some kind of bacteria that would build up in the altimeter, I think it was, like a small hole in it or something like that. If you wore it in the shower, and like I wear my wearables in the shower sometimes if they can handle it. And I was like, geez, man, never wore that thing again. So hopefully they don't get sued and they figured that out.
Yeah. From Salha Raja, what are your daily drivers, Sean, Todd, watch, phone, laptop, etc.? Pebble Time, although my Pebble Time 2 is Kickstart backed and just waiting for it to be delivered. iPhone 6 Plus, a Galaxy S6 Edge, MacBook Pro. I can't remember what year it is, but it's several years old now. And that's it. Todd.
Right now I have the Apple Watch on. I have the Galaxy S7 Edge. I'm waiting for my Note 7 shipment. I ordered it from AT&T. It's supposed to ship today or tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that. iPad Pro I've switched to recently, the keyboard, which is awesome. So that's sort of been used as my laptop and stuff. This is so awesome to type on. Have you used the keyboard?
No, I have not.
It's great. And I've used the Surfaces too. And then I have the OnePlus 3 charging behind me. I was just going to start getting back into using that a little bit more because it's unlocked and I'm going to Berlin in a week, so I'll probably take that along. And then what else? I have a MacBook Pro that I'll use for work, like for a work trip like that, because I take pictures and put the SIM card in and do all the photo editing and stuff on that. But it's not like my daily driver laptop. I just use this Windows 10 PC for the most part. It's home built.
Let's see here. We got a lot of questions here. From Morning Glory 95. So do you guys use Google Hangouts because it's free? Skype meeting broadcast seems to do all that you want. I actually will admit I have no knowledge of Skype meeting broadcasts. I will definitely look into that. Google Hangouts, it was not because it was free. It was because, hey, look, it has a Q&A session. But I will, let me find something to write on. I will make a note of Google.
That could be cool, yeah.
Skype meeting broadcast. We will take any suggestions anyone has for anything. If I could find something to write on, that would be super helpful.
Where's your iPad Pro?
It's charging at the moment. But let's see here. Skype meeting broadcast. All right, so we will look into that for sure. And so if anyone has any other suggestions, please feel free to shout them out. We're open to checking into anything. And if it does cost, it costs. That was not ever really a consideration when we chose Hangouts. From Brazen Franco, Google has too many duplicate in-apps in terms of functionality, in my opinion. Yep. Just come up with one. I mean, what's the point of Hangouts now?
Yeah. I don't even like using Hangouts anymore because it's just I have my Gmail window open and then it pops up, but I do most of my talking in Slack. And then, like you were saying at the start of the show, it's just like, oh man, there's too many different things beeping and going on,
Well, here, I'm going to connect two questions here. So from Brazen Franco, he says, the AI in Allo is the reason why Google has decided not to have ETEE on by default. The excuse is that it would make it impossible for their servers to analyze the content of the conversation and give you the extra info when you need it. But as Michael Vassell asks, what do you think of chatbots and things like Messenger, helpful or not? I have never used them, ever. I do not see the point in them.
Yeah, the only thing, and I don't even know if it's technically a chatbot, but it was like that order I received, I just thought was neat. But yeah, I haven't used them either.
Yeah, so I don't understand why they feel this is such an essential thing. I mean, maybe there's more people using it than we realize, and that's why companies keep including that stuff. But I have no interest in talking to an AI.
I think they're also doing it because these AIs and stuff, you open up these APIs, you let companies build new products for Messenger. Like previously they had Messenger, and they're like, oh, people are using this. Millions of people around the world are using this. But it doesn't make us any money. How do we turn this into something that makes us money? Oh, let's release an open API or whatever. Okay, so now we have the APIs. People are building stuff for it. What can they build for it? So you have mini games and stuff. You're like, what else can they build for it? Oh, nobody's got bots in their apps. And then they say, let's do bots and let people build bots. And, maybe we have a store, like, for example, iMessage, you can have a store where you can buy these new things for iMessage. And then you're starting to make money off of all these people that are using Messenger. So it makes sense to me, but on the other hand, yeah, the question is, like, does anybody actually use it or want it or whatever? I think it's more just like, who cares if people are buying from it, and now that we've given them the opportunity to do that, then they can. Let's just hope all this stuff doesn't slow it down, and hopefully WhatsApp sticks around as just a very, very simple and very fast application to use.
From Salha Raja, what happened to Mark B? He decided to move on to another project. That happens all the time in this industry. Yeah, that's one thing Todd and I have always laughed about this. Whenever an on-air personality leaves TechnoBuffalo, we get all these questions. What happened to so-and-so? What happened to so-and-so? Clearly John's a horrible person to work for. Todd, you and that microphone.
2 weeks in a row.
So, when an on-air personality leaves, we always get these questions, what happened? John must be a horrible person to work for, and all that. Mind you, I've been here for going on 7 years. Todd, you're coming up on what, 5?
Yeah, I've been here 4.5.
Yeah, so you're coming up on 5. Joey's been here like 6. It just, especially with video personalities, there is far more demand than there are personalities. So what we have learned over the years with TechnoBuffalo is we start working with somebody and that seems to like set off a flare to other companies. Hey, look, this is a great person. We should talk to them. They come along, negotiations happen and people move along. There's no big conspiracy theories. I love some of the conspiracy theories we see after an on-air personality leaves. They're truly amazing, but just nature of business. People move around. From Joseph Knott, what phones are you most excited for since it sure isn't the new iPhone?
Mm-hmm.
That made me
I
laugh.
am excited for the new iPhone. I just am not as excited. Like, I don't think it's Apple's A game. So the Note 7 is the one I'm excited about. Just check the order. It hasn't shipped yet. Kind of bummed.
That's what sucks. I mean, normally I would be excited for the iPhone this year, but we've heard so many rumors about next year's phone that I'm just like, no, I'm not going to run out and buy one this year. If there truly are these many changes coming in a year, I'm just going to wait.
Mm.
And as for the rest, I see that this is the difference between Todd and I. Todd still gets excited about phones. I look at phones as tools. And I don't get that worked up about phones anymore because what we're promised at these demos and all that, at least to me, I'm just always like, does it still make calls? Great.
Right.
Can I call and text? That's about all I care about. Unfortunately, I personally am not excited for any phone right now. Let's see here from Salha Raja. Would you build a PC or buy a pre-built PC? If I had the money, I would build one, but I also don't use PCs anymore.
Yeah, I always build them. I think it's a lot more fun.
I built in the past, just anymore. I think it definitely comes with age and laziness. I'm just like,
just buy it.
I just want to buy it in a box and be done.
I always like it. They've gotten just, it was funny. I built this one. I think I built one 2 years ago or so too. And it's just the ease of what you can build them these days. I mean, it was easy back when I was 15 too, but it's just ridiculous. So, and you can save some money, pick the parts you want, that kind of stuff.
From Joseph Knott, and if you would build one, what approximately would that build be? Well, I would have a processor and a motherboard. I don't know any of the current parts out on the market.
I built like 2 years ago. I did Core i3 and a middle range GeForce, and I regretted the Core i3 pretty quickly. So this time I think I went with a higher end Core i5, and it's been great for me for what I need.
I think my big thing, of course, would be an SSD. Having used some now, I'm just like, I'm never going back to hard drives.
I had an SSD. It just died like the day the Windows Anniversary came out that we were talking about the other week. So that I don't have anymore. But
From Morning Glory 95, will you guys be signing up for CBS All Access for the new Star Trek show in 2017? And have you heard about Hulu making their own quasi-cable TV service? I already subscribed to CBS All Access, so Star Trek just makes it a better value for me. And as for Hulu, yeah, we're hearing they're working on something, but I think everybody's working on something right now when it comes to streaming television services. All right, do you have any interest in the new Star Trek show, Todd?
No.
Yep,
Not a Star Trek guy.
Yeah. From Michael Vissell, and this will probably wrap up the show for this week. Iris scanner on the Note 7, gimmick or great idea?
I think it's a great idea. I really liked it. I mean, I haven't spent much more time than I did in an hour-long briefing with it, but it was really, really useful. I did the setup process, which is quick, and then use it to unlock my eyeballs. And John's testing our review unit, and he said it even works through sunglasses and stuff, which is pretty wild. So I think it's very useful. I like it a lot.
Alrighty, well, I think that is going to bring this week's show to a close. From Josh Rothenmoth, are you both going to be going to IFA in Berlin? Nope, that's just Todd.
I'll be there.
Todd will be eating my share of bratwurst for me.
That's right.
That'll bring this week's episode to a close. As always, we do appreciate you joining us. You can find the TechnoBuffalo Show on the iTunes Store by just simply searching for TechnoBuffalo Show. We do appreciate if you rate and review us. That does help out the show. You can also find us on Pocket Casts. You can subscribe via RSS feed. You can find us in the Google Play Store, or you can find us on the Stitcher app, which means you can listen to us anytime, anywhere. Pretty much anywhere there are podcasts, you can find the TechnoBuffalo Show. Until next week, I'm Sean Ani. I'm the Director of Operations for TechnoBuffalo. I've been joined by Executive Editor Todd Hazelton.
Bye, everybody.
We'll see you all back here next week. Till then, take it easy. Bye-bye.